Hey, you found part 2 of my travel to Florida video. I hope you enjoy it. So since I started my trip yesterday morning at 4:45, early, I've been 961 miles. When I hit the Texas border yesterday at New Mexico, I started another mileage tracker to show how many miles of my trip ultimately would be through the state of Texas. I've just crossed the Louisiana-Texas state lines, and I was at 690 miles driven through Texas, and it wasn't even the longest portion of Texas. On my return home, I will be driving through a majority of Texas. We'll see what that mileage is. So ultimately, 690 miles of whatever ultimately this trip turns out to be will be through the portion of Texas I went through. And I just do this because I want my friends out there. You've heard Texas is big. If you've never been to Texas and driven through Texas, I've run into people when I try to explain how big Texas is, it just blows their mind. When we would drive from the Houston area up to our property in Colorado, it would be about a 17.5-hour trip. 14 hours of that trip was in Texas alone. Once you hit the New Mexico border, it's about 4 hours to the house. So you get on one side of Texas at sunup and drive straight across the longest point, you'll be driving when the sun goes down and probably still be in the same state. It's crazy. It's a time killer. And I'm lucky this morning because I've got some clouds in the east that's blocking the sun. Otherwise, this directly east trip would be brutal on the eyes. So I've just hit Louisiana. We're going to go across the top of the boot of Louisiana and on into Mississippi, and then later drop down and cut across the western side of Alabama to Mobile, and then back onto I-10 on into Crestview, Florida. And I kind of decided to go this route. Audrey told me that this was the fastest route. The other option I had was going to Shreveport and then taking the interstate down through Alexandria and hitting 10 in southern Louisiana and Lafayette and going across there. The only reason I held off of that is I'm all too familiar with what happens to I-10 around Baton Rouge. More often than not, it turns into a parking lot. People love to mess up right there around Baton Rouge, outside of Baton Rouge. I've been in 6-8 mile long backups. I've sat outside of Baton Rouge trying to get back home to Houston for hour and a half because something happened 15 miles up the road and messed up traffic. So try to avoid it if you can. I won't be avoiding it going back home if my plans hold, but we'll manage. But this is a little bit different route. I'm familiar with about the first half of it, so not a problem. I enjoy seeing some of the places I'd pass by all the time, going around my stops in Louisiana. Miss the folks that were at those locations. If they happen to run across this video, hope y'all are doing well. I'll wave as I pass by your stores. Crossing the Mississippi Louisiana border, and to paraphrase a character from one of my favorite shows of the early 2000s, going over the Mississippi River. getting ready to. Very classic looking iron bridges. The Big Muddy. How many Mippipipis does it take to cross the Mississippi? Just like that, I'm back in Mississippi for the first time in 40-something years. Going through Vicksburg on our way to Jackson, where we'll hit Highway 49 and go south to Mobile. Exciting. Driving down this road in Mississippi with the trees growing up on either side reminds me of driving up some of those old antebellum plantation homes that have the driveway with the trees. So this is like a big giant driveway, harkening back to history of the region. My God, this is the slowest pump I have ever seen. I've seen slow pumps. This is the worst. Okay, seriously, I just pumped 12.5 gallons and it took 11 minutes. That pump was ridiculous.
Continue on US 49.
Oh my God. Okay, not buying gas at those stations anymore. Luckily, don't need any more gas today. I'm good till I get to my destination. I can fill up in Florida. Holy cow. How can you have pumps that slow? I was the only one getting gas. It's like, I guess everybody in town knew those pumps were horrible. The people would come up, they'd pull up next to a pump, they didn't pump gas, they went into the station, came back out, left. I'm the sucker. I'm the out-of-town guy. Oh well, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, sound the new state achievement bell. Ding, ding, ding. I have arrived in a state I have never been in. Alabama, for the first time. I do declare I am in the deep south, Alabama. It sucks because the 4-lane road went down to 2 lanes and I'm behind this big truck. Yeah. Oh well. Alabama! Coming up on the Mobile, Alabama skyline. There's some actually pretty interesting buildings. I don't know if any of y'all are interested in skylines. I find skylines very fascinating. And now I add Mobile to my collection. Tunnel! Pleasant surprise. I like tunnels. Going under the river in downtown Mobile. Bucky, did you follow me from Dallas? You should have told me you were coming to Alabama. You could have rode with me. Okay, I've been to a lot of Buc-ee's in my life throughout Texas. I've been to the biggest one in the world. I've never seen one this busy. This was crazy. It's awesome, but it's crazy. I just noticed on Audrey telling me that my exit to my hotel, where I'll be staying this evening, is the exit to Niceville. I don't know how that happened. That ain't right. I'm Grandpa. So I made it to my end of the second day destination, Crestview, Florida. I am about 5 hours, 6 hours from getting to the Disney Resort. So we'll do that first thing in the morning. And then once I get settled there, we're going to Disney Springs. So we got one more short travel day. And hopefully we'll get right there with no trouble and be able to start our Disney fun. Should be rainy, Florida, but you know, Grandpa. So I will see you in the morning, and we will finish our traveling and get ready for fun.
Continue on I-10.
One of the problems with traveling, especially when you're excited to get somewhere you really want to go, your sleeping is thrown off. I was planning on waking up and hitting the road about 5. Ended up waking up and hitting the road about 4. Had breakfast, so 4:30. I'm getting close to the I-75, I-10 juncture where I'll turn south and head back towards Orlando. But I gotta say, driving around in Florida, pretty nice. Some good roads, good rest stops, quite frequent. So it's been a very pleasant drive so far this morning. I really do see why people like Florida a whole lot. Maybe not in the summer. Been here in the summer, not so pleasant. But today is a cool morning, very little humidity. Should be a pleasant day. I think I'll end up in a little rain by the time I get to Orlando, but it looks like that rain will be passed through before I really start spending a lot of time at Disney Springs. Should be there or in Orlando about 11:45. Just kind of depends on what happens with traffic. And I'm going to make a stop before I get to Disney Springs, place I've always wanted to go. And since I'm actually pretty well ahead of schedule, I'll stop there first on the way to the resort before I park the car, and then take the bus back to Disney Springs. Because once I get to the resort, I'm done driving for a couple of days. We'll let someone else do the driving till I move over to Universal. So I look forward to showing you where I'm stopping in Orlando. Okay, we made it to Orlando, and it's raining, and I just told my wife that the whole reason I came down here was so I could remember what it was like to get rain, because it doesn't rain a lot where we live at Grandpa HQ. So glad to be in Orlando. I'm excited. I got one more stop, but I'll leave that for another video. So thank you for traveling with me. I know it wasn't all that exciting because I was kind of on a schedule, but I appreciated your company. If you liked the video, leave a like and share. And now it's time for you to get off my lawn. Well, you came back, so you might as well come along. I'm in the parking garage at the Orlando Premium Outlets, and I'm going to the Disney Character Warehouse for the first time ever. Tried going in August when my son and I came in
after the parks reopened, but it had not reopened, and I don't think they reopened until around October. So missed our chance then, but I'm gonna give it a try today. See what's there. Love leftovers. It's a very nice environment. Got a nice little fountain. Plenty of parking. Parking was very easy. It's a overcast and kind of rainy day, but not too humid. Not bad. And we have arrived at the Disney warehouse. Let's go inside and see what's in there. Wait times to get into the Disney warehouse. Way more than an hour. Don't have time to do that because I got Disney Springs stuff reserved. So let's get to the resort room. I just got the text while I was waiting to find out that it's too long to get into the Disney warehouse. My room's ready, so let's head to the resort and drop everything off and go catch a bus to Disney Springs. We're gonna head to the resort now, but this could get a little interesting because Audrey gets very confused in Disney World. She can't give good directions. One time it took over an hour to get from Disney Springs to the Pop Century Resort. It's maybe 10-15 minutes away, but she just couldn't direct me to the right road. So hold on, this could get to be an adventure, and I want to try to make this channel fairly family friendly. So I'm not going to record because I tend to cuss Audrey a whole lot when she screws things up. We are back.
In 3/4 of a mile, turn right on Victory Way.
It's the magic archway.
Traffic light.
Here we are, Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Finally gonna get to try this one out.